Alright, so after spending a lot of time testing weapons across both survival PvE and dueling PvP servers, I finally put together a Hytale Weapon Tier List that actually reflects how these weapons perform in real situations. This isn't just a raw DPS comparison. I paid close attention to things like mobility, attack flow, range control, and those small but important traits that can completely change a fight when things get chaotic. In this video, we'll start by going over the full tier list so you can quickly see which weapons truly stand out, and then we'll break things down with individual ranking notes for each one. I'll explain why certain weapons dominate in PvE but fall off in PvP, which ones reward aggressive play, and which picks are just insanely versatile no matter how you play. If you're trying to figure out what to main in Hytale or just want to understand the meta a bit better, you're in the right place. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking weapons in Hytale. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, two-handed axe. If you ever wanted a weapon that makes you feel powerful and slightly irresponsible at the same time, the two-handed axe in Hytale absolutely understands the assignment. This thing hits like a truck that forgot it had brakes, sitting just below the mace when it comes to raw on-hit damage. Every successful hit feels chunky and satisfying, and when it connects, you really feel like you earned it. One of the coolest things about the two-handed axe is how much mobility you can squeeze out of it if you know what you are doing. By using the charge attack and bunny hopping right after you land, you can keep your momentum going, reposition quickly, and stay surprisingly safe for such a heavy weapon. On top of that, its area of effect potential with the Q ability is solid, letting you pressure multiple enemies at once instead of awkwardly chopping at a single target. That said, the axe definitely has a personality, and not all of it is friendly. Its damage per second can feel awkward because the real payoff comes from landing the final hit of its combo string, and with a slow weapon, that is easier said than done. The basic attacks are slow, the Q charge time is slow, and if you commit at the wrong moment, you might find yourself staring at the respawn screen wondering where it all went wrong. In late game zones, the axe basically demands a very specific playstyle to stay alive. You are charging, hitting, jumping immediately after landing, and repeating that rhythm over and over to avoid getting punished. In player versus player combat, things get even trickier since experienced opponents will happily dodge that final combo hit and leave you swinging at empty air. When it works, it feels amazing. When it does not, it is a brutal reminder that the two-handed axe is powerful, but only if you respect its limits. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, one-handed sword and hand crossbow. There is something oddly satisfying about weapons that do not try to do everything at once, and the A tier lineup in Hytale fits that vibe perfectly. These are the tools you pick when you want consistency, control, and a little bit of finesse rather than raw chaos. They may not always top the damage charts, but they reward smart positioning and good decision making. Let's start with the one-handed sword, the definition of reliable. Being able to pair it with a shield gives you the lowest stamina damage while blocking, which already puts you in a comfortable spot during longer fights. On top of that, shield bash push is incredibly useful when dealing with multiple enemies, letting you create space instead of getting surrounded. It is not flashy, but the balance between offense and defense makes it feel safe and flexible. Mobility is where the one-handed sword quietly shines. You can bunny hop using the charge attack by hitting jump the moment you land, turning it into a clean hit and run weapon. This makes moving through the world smoother and combat less punishing, especially when you are not looking to commit fully. The downside is simple though, it has the lowest damage per second output, so you are trading raw power for control and survivability. Now the hand crossbow is a very different kind of A tier experience. Its burst damage is higher than the regular bow, which makes opening shots feel extremely satisfying. Just like the sword, it can be used with a shield, meaning you still benefit from low stamina loss while blocking and access to shield bash push against groups of enemies. In the right moments, it feels incredibly strong. Unfortunately, the hand crossbow comes with some frustrating limitations. Reloading is mandatory, the Q ability charges slowly, and it does not combo well with other weapons at all. If you switch away, your reload does not carry over, forcing you to reload again every single time. That alone kills a lot of its momentum and makes weapon swapping feel clunky instead of tactical. As for tips, keep in mind that the second hit of the sword's Q ability has a small delay and requires you to adjust your aim slightly to land it cleanly. Mastering that timing makes a huge difference. The crossbow can be strong early on if you commit to it, but it falls off later in terms of damage per second. If reload progress ever saved when switching weapons, the crossbow would instantly jump to S tier thanks to prepared burst damage on demand. Until then, it stays powerful, but just a little held back. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Daggers, two-handed mace, and bow. Some weapons do not ask for permission, they simply take over the entire fight, and that is exactly where the S tier weapons in Hytale live. These are not just strong options, they actively change how you move, how you engage, and how safe you feel while doing it. Once you get used to them, everything else starts to feel a little bit limiting. Daggers sit at the top when it comes to pure freedom of movement. Bunny hopping with the charge attack gives you the best combat and exploration mobility in the game. No contest. You pounce in, hit, bounce back out, and repeat until the enemy wonders if you were ever really there. The attack string finishes quickly, the Q ability charges fast, and the entire kit encourages a fast, aggressive hit-and-run playstyle. What makes Daggers especially safe is how forgiving the charge attack is. Spamming it constantly knocks you backward, keeping enemies at a distance while still dealing consistent damage. You can also chain charge attack bunny hops to stay mobile almost indefinitely. The downside is that their damage per second is slightly lower than other S tier weapons, and optimal damage still depends on landing the final hit of the attack string and charging Q properly. There are also a few tricks that push Daggers even further. You can bunny hop by pressing jump the moment you hit the ground after the charge attack pounce, and if you jump slightly before the charge attack fires, you gain extra height. Instead of only using basic attacks until Q is ready, you can boost damage by charge attacking 3 times, and then using basic attacks until Q becomes available. Since all weapons currently take the same stamina damage from blocking, Daggers surprisingly become the best blocking option right after the shield. Then, there is the two-handed mace, which takes a very different approach to dominance. This weapon has the best on-hit damage and overall damage per second in the game because every single hit deals optimal damage. You do not need to rely on combo strings or perfect timing, you just hit and it hurts. High damage also means your Q ability charges extremely fast. The mace's charge attack is brutal, hitting multiple enemies at once and turning tight situations into opportunities. Its Q ability is perfect for escaping swarms of player versus environment enemies or repositioning in player versus player fights with a massive damage burst. Jumping before using Q gives you better height and aiming control, which can make a big difference in chaotic fights. However, the mace demands commitment. The basic attacks are slow, you cannot bunny hop, and the charge attack leaves you vulnerable for a moment. This weapon absolutely requires high tier armor because you are going to take hits. Knowing when to cancel into block mid-charge attack can save your life, especially when your health is low. Bringing plenty of cooked food and solid armor is not optional here. The bow earns its S tier spot by being the most reliable long-range damage option in the game. It delivers optimal range damage before a fight starts or after you disengage, letting you control encounters on your terms. Unlike the crossbow, you can freely switch to it and start firing immediately without worrying about reloads. Its Q ability offers high burst damage at close to medium range, which makes it surprisingly dangerous even when enemies get closer than you would like. That said, the bow does require charging basic attacks and having solid aim to truly shine. If you miss your shots or rush them, its effectiveness drops quickly. One of the best synergies in the game is pairing the bow with daggers. The dagger charge attack naturally dashes you backward, creating instant space where you can swap to the bow and start firing. It is always worth carrying, and crafting a bow and arrows is far easier here than it is in Minecraft, making it an easy and powerful addition to any loadout. Right now, the strongest overall setup is running both the mace and daggers together. You get unmatched damage output, incredible mobility, strong blocking, and reliable exploration speed all in one package. It is a combination that covers nearly every combat scenario and explains exactly why these weapons define the S tier. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.